Here are my positions, Ross.
It's on.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting, or we'll talk about this later on this one. T-Dot issue. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We've got acceptance of the agenda. Does anybody need anything added or taken away from the agenda? Hearing none. If there's no objection, we'll go ahead and accept the acceptance of the agenda. We got a minute. I need a motion.
Move. Second.
Okay, there's been a proper motion, a proper section. Is there any changes or deletions from the minutes? Hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? Does anybody need the motion repeated? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, it passes unanimously. Now on to ordinances and, excuse me. Let me get rid of this right here where I can shut this off. Okay, we're gonna shut this thing down where I won't be bothered by anything. If anyone understands that, there's a few in here that do. Now, let's see here. We're on to ordinances and resolutions. Reading on Resolution 2325, a resolution accepting the dedication of completed streets at Durham Farms, Phase 2, Section 26 in Hendersonville, Sumner County, Tennessee. I need a motion on the resolution.
Move. Second.
Okay, there's been a proper motion and a proper second. Is there any discussion on the resolution 2325?
Just staff is satisfied that everything's in order. All of the street gutters, it's draining properly, and your staff is satisfied.
Yes, I will just note the alleys do remain private, so there's an alley in this section. And so that will remain the ownership and maintenance responsibility of the HOA.
Okay, great. All right, good deal. Any other discussions on the resolution? Hearing none, is everybody ready to vote? All in favor, does anybody need the resolution repeated? Hearing none. All in favor of resolution 2023-25, which is a resolution accepting dedication of the streets in Durham Farms, Phase 2, Section 26. Signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, passed unanimously. Great. Moving on to other agenda items. Trash collection contract timeline.
Yes, so in your packet, I did provide the requested timeline if we were to go out to bid. This is what I think our timeline would look like. I believe it gives us sufficient time for advanced planning before bid and then after bid, so that we can coordinate, have an implementation plan to hopefully make it as smooth as possible for a contract effective July 1st. And speaking with Lori, who was here at our last meeting, she went back to corporate and asked if they would accept a 35% increase for a 1-year extension, since I told her for myself that was the maximum I felt I could justify, because that's the increase that we've seen in our other contracts that have gone out to bid lately. And corporate was not agreeable to a 35% increase for a 1-year extension. So I told her anything beyond that would have to be, a decision by this committee and the board. So that's where we stand.
Okay, no on the 35%
That's correct.
increase. Okay, on the extension. Okay. All right.
Just to clarify, which means that they're likely to be higher than 35%, just
Yes.
so everybody knows that. Okay.
Yes. So we're going to start in August and have a public meeting
Yes.
to advertise it, have it here at City Hall, I guess, and what do you envision the agenda to be?
Probably pretty similar to the BOMA workshops that we've had, where we kind of outline what our current contract is and what our options would be for putting a different contract out to bid, what options the public would like to see included for bid. I think the best thing that we can do is have their input and
Listen
and consider putting those options out to bid and see what the prices come in as. I'm thinking we would have several base options for bid and then potential add-ons. So if we had a base bid, let's just say for, once a week backdoor collection or once a week curbside collection, but then we did an add-on for that base for backdoor collection to where resident could have an upgraded service if they were agreeable to signing up and paying for that additional service. Just different options to consider.
Okay, and that'll be in August sometime. We don't know what, I mean, I know that's pretty
Right,
far out. We don't know when in August,
right.
but
We
it'll
haven't.
be in August sometime. Okay.
So the incremental cost of the back door would be covered completely by the person wanting back door. That's one of the options.
I think
you're
that could be
talking
an
about.
option, yes.
Could there also be an option of twice a week?
I think that would be one of the options
That
we
would
would
be
include.
the Cadillac. I mean, it'd be
Right.
moving up the food chain.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should consider
People
all
can see the
options.
cost difference.
Yeah,
Yes.
and make their decisions based on that.
So do we, how many bidders do you think? I mean, I think some of the companies have gone out, haven't they? I mean, Nashville
Yeah.
lost Red River or something, you
Mhm.
know? And so,
Yes.
is it likely that we just get one bid?
I think we would get at least two, potentially three.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I'm thinking, same thing you are.
Okay.
I think we would probably get.
So, Mr. Chairman, do we need to codify this? Do we need to approve this timeline?
I don't think so. Do you really think that we need to make it, to agree to a timeline or, I mean, I think it's pretty much, it's up to staff, but now if you all disagree with me, we can go ahead and vote on it. But if we know that's what we're gonna do in concrete, I don't think there's a motion necessary unless you think it's so, what the committee does.
I don't know that it's necessary, but
Okay.
if you want a
No,
motion,
I just thought you might want the cover.
think this is,
Cover.
Do you want something
Sure.
covered seriously or,
that
cover.
sounds good.
okay,
Yeah.
Cover's always good.
The Public Works Committee approved this timeline.
okay, we've got a timeline that is set by Public Works. And I need a motion.
I move, but I have a question.
Oh,
But I'll
okay.
move approval.
Okay,
Second.
okay, now question, discussion.
So how much time are we gonna have after we make a decision and we start implementing in case we get a new provider?
Mhm.
I mean, I want to make sure that the timeline is adequate to make sure that there are as minimal hiccups as possible.
I agree. I built in 1 or 2 extra dates for BOMA
Okay,
after they go out to bid, so there could be some extra time gained there, just depending on how that goes. But currently, I have in here roughly 6 months.
Okay.
okay, if we can't get it, our stuff together
Yeah.
by 6 months,
Yeah.
we're in trouble, so. But I don't think that, I think we'll be ready by then. Okay,
So is there any linkage, Jesse, on the contract and the mid-year budget review? Is there any linkage there? I mean, would you like to see a contract approved before the mid-year budget so we can take that into account at the mid-year budget? And that's usually in February, right?
Well, that mid-year, we're gonna bid on a fiscal year, right?
Yes, it wouldn't be effective until July 1st.
Yeah,
Right.
so it would be good information to have.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
I got you. Sorry. Okay.
Good question.
all right, any other, that was a good question to do that. All right, any other discussion on the motion? All right, does anybody need the motion repeated? Is everybody ready to vote? All in favor of the discussion on the trash collection contract timeline as set forth by our Public Works Director and the Public Works Committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it passes unanimously. So that way you have your
Yes.
orders, to do that. And if there is a problem that you foresee, you can come back to us and let us know.
Yes.
Thank
All right. Okay, let's go with trash collection update.
You might notice the numbers are a little higher for reported misses for this month. They had been down roughly around 150 for the month. They peaked up to around 300 reported misses. There are a couple of reasons for that. One being it involved the holiday. That's always an issue. Another is they have had an issue as the warmer temperatures have come on. I don't know if that's had the impact, but they've had some issues with their trucks. So they were down, I believe, one truck. We see that 44 peak in the center there. And then they've had some ongoing issues with their equipment. So I anticipate probably next month seeing something similar in the update. But
Because they might have, this has been taken care of, but at 214 Sterling Road, they missed the garbage there. I had to look at that up. So I just
Okay.
want to let them know.
okay.
Hold on just a second. I might have one. Garbage come in, go back to register. Okay. Okay, so this lady's already put in a ticket, so
Okay,
don't worry about the next one. But those,
Okay.
just let them
We
know.
can get that reported.
Miss Smith and Miss Raymer.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
They have been diligent in coming back and collecting, even though they've had, the reported misses were high, but the actual 24-hour misses, this is not a true reflection of that number.
Good. Okay, any other discussion on the trash collection update? All right, hearing none, let's go on to limb and brush collection update.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, back up. The paving list, let's do that
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, so
FY 24 paving list.
yes, included in your packet was the paving list that was shared previously. The total at the bottom has not been updated for the increase we just experienced with our paving contract. I had added some fluff in here in anticipation of an increase. So what our discussion is surrounding today is the need to pull approximately 600,000 from this paving list. And
Okay.
I had come up with a couple of scenarios, but of course that's, open for discussion. The roads that were not rated as severe as some of the others on the list, at the bottom, underneath of the Drakes Creek parking lots, you'll see affirmed drive. So starting there to the end of the list, we're not ranked as severe as the other roads on the list. So I would recommend taking those off. Recommendation
Okay, from a firm drive on down, is that correct?
in your packet.
This one.
It might be on the back side, maybe.
It is, it's on the
Is that
back.
what it is? Okay.
Let me get my
Yes.
thing.
What's the name of the road?
Affirmed. It's underneath of the Drakes Creek parking lot.
So affirmed on down, is that correct?
Yes. And then another scenario was to remove Caudill and Sanders Ferry and keep the parking lots.
Okay, and keep the parking lot?
That's one scenario. Another scenario could be to remove the Drakes Creek parking lots and pave Caudill and Sanders Ferry. Those are the scenarios I came up with, and that meets the budget requirements.
Okay.
But
Okay, and what was the last one again? Keep the parking lots and do what?
keep the parking lots and remove Caudill
Okay,
and Sanders Ferry.
Caudell, is that in Ward 3?
Yes.
yeah.
Ward 3,
Yes.
and Sanders Ferry is in one in
Two down.
Yeah, it's
Two.
two
Is it
and
two or four?
one. It's 2 and 1.
Okay. This is the portion from right in front of Water's Edge.
Yeah.
Where it makes that turn toward the park.
and that gets a lot of traffic, doesn't it? Is that not one of the busiest streets in the city, other than Main Street?
Yeah, I don't know that particular section is that busy, but it does take quite a bit of traffic for people going to the park. And the residential area, of course.
Okay. Okay, do we need to vote, will this be one, that we need to vote on in, to budget? I mean, in our budget tonight, that we need to take those out, or?
I don't know that we need to vote on it for budget, Mayor Jesse.
If we've got the whole list in there, and so that's what we need to have, and it's already in there.
Okay,
Yeah, the budget only appropriates the funding, not the streets, so the. budget-
oh, okay, so we can,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
So I'll make a motion
All right,
that we pave streets with the entire amount. That we pave city streets with the entire
Okay.
amount. That way, the parking lots will have to come later. I just cannot, I cannot pay to pave parking lots when we've got
Yeah.
streets like Sanders Ferry Road that needs paved. So that's my motion to pave with all the money allocated to pave streets as designated by Public Works, as being the most worthy.
Mr. Chairman.
Allows them to prioritize.
Go ahead now. Are you finished?
Yeah, that's
You
my
have something
motion.
to say?
No, that's good. It allows, Public Works to prioritize.
Okay. Mr. Stafford?
Yeah, I wanted to thank you very much. Okay, the ones below Drake Street, what's the total of all those?
I believe they were roughly 400,000, I believe, and the parks parking lots would add roughly another 200,000, so it'd make up the 600.
If things go well and we're able to add additional money into the budget, could we prioritize those that we're skipping
That would,
at the next, at like the
You mean the
mid-year? At
streets,
the mid-year.
the streets?
The,
The
yeah,
roads.
the streets first and then the parks, like at the mid-year, if we collect enough. If the first 6 months of the fiscal year are as great as they were this
Sure.
year, so,
that, I believe that would be the intention, yes, yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
very much, Mr.
Well, I don't have a second yet, but that's my motion to just pave the streets.
All right, I need a second. If there is a second.
Second.
Okay, I concur on all that. There's been a proper motion and second. Now for the discussion. Now, my question to you is, or to Jesse or Jamie, do we need to take like Drake Street parking lot A, B, and D out of the budget, or we just leave that in there? Since we're saying take it out and use all the money for streets.
So the funding amount would remain the same, it's just that we're able to do less streets.
Okay, then it can stay in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got you. Thank you very much. Okay. The motion's been made to pave the streets, and give it to, and then per Public Works Department for your recommendations on that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, it passes unanimously. Okay.
Make sure you hit a button and tell the whole board tonight when we get to the budget on this item.
Sure, okay. Oh, most definitely. we will. In fact, that's why I had written on there. That's why I was asking all those questions to make sure that that's the case. Okay, let's go on to limb brush collection. I know we've all been having a lot of calls on that. And in fact, I had one
Yes.
before the meeting tonight. So go ahead.
Yes, so, yes, there were some significant delays for the past week or two. The Public Works crews have been out working, earlier in the day, later in the evening, to try and get things caught up. So we did restart the beginning of each of the 3 routes yesterday on Monday. And so far it is going faster than it did the last round through the route. So, I believe we're going to make some good progress still. We're still encouraging staff to work earlier and later as they're able to continue that progress until we know that we're ahead of it.
Okay, good. Any other?
Yeah. So, what was the problem again that caused this abandoning several routes, prioritizing, I guess, the peninsula and abandoning Route C for what? How many weeks was it abandoned?
It was stopped for approximately 3 weeks
3 weeks. So why?
because that route had completed faster. That route doesn't have as many mature trees, and they didn't suffer as much damage from the freeze and the windstorm as those other more mature areas. And so since they had completed that route and A and B, the peninsulas were running so far behind, we halted that route and concentrated efforts to try and get the other two caught up as well.
Yeah. I gotta speak for my ward. We've got at least one HOA that has hired a contractor to come in and pick up the brush. It was so bad. And so, I don't know, Mark. I
Well, you all know what my feeling was, and
got a problem.
I'm not gonna say that I told you so, because I'm not that kind of alderman, but I warned everybody early on that this was gonna be one that we really need to invest in some help, and we did not, but that's okay. I mean, if we're close, then that's cool. No, I'm not here to cast stones. I'm one that wants the thing corrected, because I've got some pictures here of where they've been there for 8 weeks, some, down on the end of Peninsula in Ward 1. So, all I'm just saying is try to work hard on this. I don't know the answer, Eddie. I wanted initially to try to see if there was any kind of funding where we could get an emergency funding to get the,
Supplemental help.
to get supplemental help for the whole city, not just, in one particular area. So maybe this will be it. This is unfortunately, a hard lesson we gotta learn, because it's been really bad, not only in Ward 1, but man, I get calls from everybody. And of course, I'll go see, go drive out there and see them. And that's why I made the comment the other night when I said, it was green and then brown, then red, and now it's red, some of the brush. And,
It
so
finally turns into charcoal. Next.
I'm getting worried about it. Some of them, I mean, I've even got some just right down the road from where I live on Riviera that I know that has been there for ages, And I was speaking to one of our former colleagues, she was asking me about it. Ms. Petrelli was asking me about it, via text on about the pickup, and I said, well, we're working as diligently as we can.
Yeah.
So do we have as much staff doing that as we have? I mean, did the clean team take away that functionality?
No, it did not. We are currently down an equipment operator 3. So we had to pull resources from our supervisor for the concrete crew, the supervisor for our drainage crew. We've had to utilize them in those roles to assist us with getting those routes caught up, because we are short an operator right now.
Yeah, so if we just started back in C, I guess C1, we're in C1,
Yes.
then the end of that C, it may be 2 months before they get brush pickup.
Hopefully not. I mean, I'm not going to say that's impossible, but when things are caught up, usually the routes are anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So it's possible that they could be out there in 6
Yeah, but they've already it's been over a month, way over a month.
Yeah,
So now
that's
we're
true.
just starting. So we're looking at least another 3 weeks to 4 weeks, up to 6 weeks. So it could be 2.5 months before C10 is picked up.
Sure.
So I know it's difficult to manage, but these kind of issues really generate complaints, and it leaves the city untidy. I mean, it's dangerous. Cars don't see around all the piles of brush, and it's just, well, you know that. So,
Go ahead. Do you have any questions or comments? I'll tell you what we'll do. We're gonna revisit this again next month, and we're gonna see where we are. And, that'll be another 4 weeks, and we'll see where we are. We'll see our complaint level, because I mean, no joke. I get calls every day on it, and and I don't mind the calls. I get them all the time. And then with Facebook, I get a bunch of people, contacting me on that, since people know now I'm kind of active on it. And I'm very grateful for letting them know, about that stuff, because I don't like it either. But what I would like to do is visit this issue again in about 4 weeks, if it's okay with the committee. And then maybe we can try to and then during this 4 weeks, we can kind of either collectively or at your home, kind of figure out, like, okay, what can we do? on this. And let's hopefully come up with some ideas to see what we can do about on this issue. Because we gotta get it right. We really do. This is the longest I know of that it's ever been. And I know those storms we had earlier were bad. They really were.
It's a record, you know.
Yeah, so, and most people at first were real, they understood, but now they're like, okay, we understood. Now what are you doing? And so, anyway, let's do that. Let's think about it, and then we'll revisit that issue in next month's meeting. Is that okay with everybody? Good deal. All right. Let's go with the mid-year budget amendment on paving.
Yes, so the mid-year list that we provided for the amendment, that list has been completed. The only outstanding roads were from the original list, and that was a stadium in Winston Hills, and I believe they're milling stadium tomorrow finally.
Okay, good,
So
good.
we are moving forward.
The city is, or the developer?
City is.
Okay.
So I thought that the road between Thornton's and Speedway at the railroad crossing,
Yes,
I thought that was going to be paved to Main Street, that short piece there that's all tore up.
it is.
It has not been paved.
Correct. That's the other outstanding road. That's Winston Hills. That's the other
That
side
little
of Winston
short
Hills.
piece.
Yes.
Is it going to be done by the end of the year?
That's what we're working toward, but the coordination with CSX and Rogers Group has not gone smoothly or quickly. I think they're close. So Rogers Group has the rider that I think is satisfied CSX, but we have encumbered the funds to complete that project under the current contract rates.
Perfect. That's okay. That's what I wanted to make sure that we had done. Thank you.
So stadium and what's the other one's been milled?
Winston Hills.
Winston Hills.
It will not be milled tomorrow, but
Right, stadium will.
that's right. Weather permitting.
Right.
So on the mid-year budget amendment, I know the paving is 35% higher for next year. How many bids did we get for that?
2.
2.5.
And that was the
2.5.
that was the low bid.
It was, yeah.
So did you think about rebidding it? I mean, you don't think we could get any better bid? I mean, because the price of gas has gone down, hasn't it?
Right. So the
Other ingredients.
gas
So
bill-
I
It's
sent it
next
to a
week.
bunch of other vendors.
Yeah.
And we only got one extra vendor.
Okay. All right. I had to ask that question.
and the liquid asphalt portion, so the gas portion of it is indexed, and that has gone down a little bit. So that does fluctuate some, but I don't know. I don't think at this time we would get any better rates.
It's the admixtures.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion on this? All right, now we'll go on to the light synchronization update.
Moving right along, we did have a situation, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, where there was a issue in front of Myers front porch. The sewer main was hit. So we had our update meeting at Myers front porch last week, and that it went well. They're doing well so far. They're on schedule.
Still the end of the year, they're supposed to be finished with phase 1.
Yes.
And has phase 2, has the NEPA been approval? Have we received approval for the NEPA? I think that's how you refer to it.
Right. No, we have not received the NEPA approval yet. We are.
Is that state?
It is state. They were down to one archaeologist in their cultural services division, and they have recently left.
And this is to make sure there's no graveyards in the right of way.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's my understanding.
Why is there 3 separate line items for light synchronization on the budget? One's for equipment, looks like.
And there are 3 project accounts. Which one, I guess, specifically you're asking about?
Signal timing optimization equipment,
Okay.
TMSI light synchronization,
Mhm.
and TMSI light synchronization citywide traffic.
Yes. Okay. So the signal timing optimization equipment, that is quote unquote phase 2. That is the second part of the project that will provide the detection and the timing synchronization.
Okay.
And then the TMSI is the first part. In order to fund construction, we looked at various funding sources. So there's one main project account, which is the larger,
Mhm.
and then the 46,735. I think we ended up pulling that from another project where we hadn't expended all of the funds, but had already completed it. I can't recall whether that was a center point signal or whatever it was, but we pulled it from another project.
Okay, so we can track it separately.
Yes.
So is it possible for the state to pull its funding for that, for phase 2?
Based on what?
Well, based on that email. from
Exit 8?
Alan. Yes.
I don't know contractually, it might be a question for Lance, whether they could pull the funding for existing contract. They may delay approvals. I'm not certain on that. I would say they wouldn't sign any new contracts based on the email from Mr. Allen. So if we needed an extension, if we weren't not able to complete it by the completion date in the contract, it's possible they wouldn't grant an extension.
All right. I'm not gonna say anything, because this is not what we're talking, that's not to our business tonight. Okay. Let's go on to Saunders Ferry Greenway, because I'm sure we'll be discussing Exit 8 tonight at the board. And I'll reserve my comments about that at that time. If I need them, I may not. Saunders Ferry Greenway update, how we doing?
Similarly, making good progress. We're on schedule, haven't had any new change orders. They had started work on the boardwalks and they're looking really nice. So I think that's been exciting. Shared some pictures with Casey that the contractor had sent us, so she'll probably be posting something. She gets back from vacation.
It looks really good out there.
Okay,
Did you find out more on the guardrail?
I'm sorry?
Did you find out more on the guardrail at the water park?
Guardrail at the water part, I'm sorry. Refresh my memory.
Somebody had a question about whether there would be a guardrail to keep kids from going over.
Oh, for the boardwalks?
Yeah, for the boardwalk.
Yes, those were designed so that the separation between the posts, I guess you'd call them, does not allow for children's images to be stuck between them or for them to go through.
Yeah, the sphere rule. Can I get a screenshot of the detail or something I can share? Or
Sure.
just let everybody know what's coming.
Sure.
And I don't know, I was gonna ask, I neglected, which no one's called me on or anything, but just that the guardrail reminded me. Has the guardrail been readjusted at New Shackle Island Road and Gallatin Road, by the Animal Inn? Or have they adjusted that?
I'm not certain. They replace it fairly regularly.
Yeah, I know, it's about the
But I'm not
31.
certain right now.
Okay, so that's fine, I didn't know. Yes, I'll go by and look at it. Okay, now we're down to other business. Any business that we have? Nothing? All right. Anything at all? Any from the public? Anything? Nope. Hearing none, I just need a motion.
So move to adjourn.
All right, we adjourned at 5:39.
Good time.